Welcome to Legion Radio, a podcast about all things e-commerce, the official podcast of the private label Legion, hosted by Tim Jordan.
Hey everybody, I'm Tim Jordan here with another episode of Legion Radio, which is the official podcast of the private label Legion. Today I have a superstar in the Amazon community. In fact, he even says it on his shirt, Jeff Cohen of many different, recent past ventures, but ultimately right now, most people know him with his work in affiliation with Seller Labs, which is a software tool for Amazon sellers, correct?
Yep.
Cool. So I ran into to Jeff the first time, I don't know, a few years ago when I was a peon in the industry, not that it's much better now, and he was walking around with this amazing shirt on that says famous on Amazon. And Jeff, I'm putting you on the spot, I've never asked you, what does that shirt mean?
Yeah, famous on Amazon, that's a great question. First, thanks for having me on, I appreciate it.
Show the shirt.
Oh yeah, we'll show the shirt a little.
Okay.
Famous on Amazon is it's a state of mind, right? Like, I thought it was cool that, did you ever, I might be dating myself, did you ever see the movie Big Trouble Little China?
Yes.
You know, like, I'm big in Japan, right? He talks about how he's big in Japan. I'm like, I wanted to be like, my first shirt was like big on Amazon, and I was like, well, I'm big, and I'm on Amazon, so I'm big on Amazon. No, famous on Amazon. You know, that's what we all seek to be, is famous on Amazon. So if your product is got a bestseller badge, if you are ranking #1 for a key term, those are all ways that you're famous on Amazon. And it's not about you, Tim or Jeff, being famous on Amazon. It's about your product and your brand being famous on Amazon. And we've seen with successful brands that if you can take a brand like Death Wish Coffee and you can become famous on Amazon, then all of a sudden you grow to Super Bowl ads, you grow to exporting your products to Target. And so Amazon is a platform, it's a marketplace, but it's really a launching pad for us. And if we can become famous on that marketplace, then we can take our products and do anything anywhere.
Yeah, a guy with a cell phone in his garage can become famous on the largest sales platform in the world with, his neighbors won't know what he's doing.
Right.
But famous on Amazon is, I've always liked it. I never got a true explanation from you exactly what it was. I kind of had that idea, but I think that it kind of sums up what all of us as like e-commerce entrepreneurs understand is the possibilities. Like, there's so much we can do with this little platform, and we can literally become famous on Amazon. I think it's great. Did you come up with that, or did someone else?
I believe I did. It's been so many years, I don't remember.
He didn't come up. He did.
But here's the thing. Like, when I was graduating college, there were 2 books my dad had me read. Right, I had to read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I had to read The Millionaire Next Door. And both of those books were quintessential books that were teaching us, like you just said, that we can be the millionaire next door without us actually having to show that we're the millionaire next door. And so what we're trying to do is exactly that. Think about it. If we wanted to start a business 20 plus years ago, you had to come up with a product, you had to come up with packaging, you had to find a distribution network, you had to open up a retail operation, you had to hire employees, you had to invest tens of thousands of dollars to do that. Like you just said, now you can come up with a great idea and launch it and test it, and find ways to test it in the marketplace to see what it's going to be and how it's going to do and how the market's going to react to it, and to pivot and to make changes, and then to eventually scale it when you have a product market fit.
Well, I tell people all the time that for thousands of years, your ability to sell something was restricted by your geographical location. You could only sell something. Yeah, you can get into the Silk Road and stuff like that, but as a new launching up business, you had your town or your village, or for thousands of years, and it's only been in the last decade that anybody from anywhere in the world can hypothetically sell to anybody anywhere in the world. And it's brand new. It's such a cool opportunity, and I'm glad I'm born in this generation for sure, because you can become famous on Amazon with one cool little idea and a laptop computer. So exactly. So I know that you've been in e-commerce since 2005 was when you got your start, correct?
Yeah.
So give us like the quick 2-minute history, 2005 to now. Where have you been? That way we can later understand like the things that you've seen, where you get your knowledge from.
Sure. I kind of stumbled into this industry. I wasn't planning to be part of this traditional marketing, marcom background, working for big companies, creating websites. I was working for a $500 million textbook wholesaler. And and I was running their advertising department. I rewrote their corporate website. And after I got done rewriting their corporate website, I got called into the CEO's office, and the CEO was like, God, you did a great job building our website. Do you want to build an e-commerce website? And I was like, sure. And he's like, yeah, well, we have this domain, textbooks.com. We want to build our own e-commerce website. We'd love you to build a team and build the website. And I was like, okay. 2005, I knew the internet was going to be something. I don't think any of us knew really what it was going to be, but I knew it was going to be something, and I knew that I was putting myself in a position to be part of something where the future was going. Part of that was launching, marketing the site called textbooks.com. Part of that was also taking our excess inventory and working with the team to sell our excess inventory on eBay and Amazon. So I have familiarity with the marketplace and e-commerce dating back to 2005. Jump ahead to about 2012, a guy that had worked for me a few years past started going to USPS Auction. So USPS Auction was a location inside Atlanta, Georgia, where all the stuff on the mail truck fell off the truck, never got delivered, fell out of the box, fell out of the package.
The label got destroyed.
Yeah, but it was thousands of products. So you walk into this gigantic warehouse, and the warehouse has Gaylords that are 4 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot, and it was like Storage Wars, right? Nobody knew what Storage Wars was back then. But you had to look at the Gaylord, and you had to say whether you wanted to buy it and how much you were willing to spend. And so we started buying books, we started buying Legos, we started buying jewelry, we started buying sporting goods. That led us to do a deal with the Goodwill. We were buying truckloads of products from the Goodwill. That led us to buying wholesale closeouts.
Wait, how do you get truckloads from, isn't all the Goodwill stuff supposed to go in the retail stores?
Yeah, so what happens at the Goodwill is that everybody brings their stuff to the local Goodwill. The local Goodwill sifts through all the stuff that they have. They keep the stuff they want to fill their store. All the rest of it goes to a regional distribution center. They sift through it and they kind of spread it out amongst the other stores. And then all the extra stuff just gets disposed of because they get so much stuff. So they had, I've been to these centers, piles upon piles of books, toys. They're recycling all the plastic. They're recycling all the computers. So they take all the computers, they sell them all to Dell at recycling prices, and they use that money to bring back. They take the extra books and they sell them to us.
So there was enough stuff that they considered junk that you could pick through it and find really good stuff because they didn't know what they were looking for.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And back in those days, in 2012, 2013, you could still sell a book on Amazon for a little bit of money and make cash. It's a lot harder to do now.
Yeah.
So that led us to create some software to run our operation. We went to a trade show in 2013 looking for new software for our business. We realized that the software in the space, we had built better stuff than what was out there. So we took our software and we made our software available. Feedback Genius, the first product that came out in 2013, and subsequently rolled out Scope and Quantify and our advertising tool Ignite.
Awesome. So right now, the big things that Seller Lab has that's exciting, I guess the most exciting thing right now is Ignite, correct?
Yeah, I think everything's exciting, but I think that advertising on Amazon is moving swiftly. 2 years ago, it was something that the elite sellers were doing. Now it's something that every seller should be doing in some way, shape, or form, whether you're doing wholesale or retail arbitrage or selling your own brand.
And that is one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on this podcast, because I know that advertising is one of your specialties. Whether it's digging down and actually optimizing and figuring out new tactics and on and off Amazon traffic, to using tools like Ignite to help you manage the minute details that actually make a difference. So advertising on Amazon is one of those things that a lot of people are scared to death of.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen it, but people will throw out an auto ad for something, set it up wrong, and spend mountains of money for no return. So I know people that absolutely won't run PPC ads, correct?
Yeah.
But my understanding and my experience is that it's not only important in sales, but it's absolutely important in launches too, because when you launch a new product, you're gonna be on page 30 of something, you can use PPC to start gaining rank, but also you can find different markets to sell in, right? So you can get creative as far as literally who you want to show this to.
I got a sale yesterday because of the Spanish version. The main keyword for my product in Spanish is what drove the sale. I would have never known to have either bid on that but it came from an auto-targeted ad.
So you have literally been diving into specifically Amazon PPC for how many years would you say?
Yeah, so pretty much since about 2016 I've been diving into it, yeah.
So 2-3 years, and what changes have you seen since it? Because I know in 2016 it was a much different beast and much different game than it is now.
Yeah, so it's become a significantly more complicated. I think, let me address some of the things you kind of brought up of the fears people have, right? Yeah. I think that Amazon advertising has become a lot more complicated. Let me say it this way. Amazon advertising hasn't become more complicated. People are realizing that to be successful on it, it's more complicated than what they originally had, right? So there's a big difference, right? And that is that a lot of things that we've done as Amazon sellers, we do in a set it and forget it type of mode, right? We set up our autoresponders and we haven't touched them in 2 or 3 years. Hint, if you haven't touched your autoresponders for 2 or 3 years, you should go back and look at them. But those can be updated every 6 months, right? Yep. Advertising requires you to understand how advertising works, makes you understand what your data means, and it requires you to constantly be optimizing. Now, if you have a well-structured campaign, if you have good keywords, then the optimization really doesn't take a lot of time. But if you don't put in that time at the beginning, then the rest of it becomes significantly more difficult to manage. So specifically, what you had said was kind of what are the changes that have occurred? I think one is Amazon has made a lot more advertising space available on the web.
Okay, now let me stop you there, because my understanding for a long time was that pay-per-click ads were running just on Amazon.
Yes.
But that's not true, is it?
It's not. You're correct.
So does anybody know where Amazon is throwing? Is there like a list? Is there a directory?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me make it kind of simple. Right now, if you run sponsored ads, SPA, those are only showing up on Amazon. There is a feature that Amazon has been rolling out and will continue to roll out that says place my ads on the extended network. Okay, the extended network means these other sites. Nobody knows exactly what they are. Right now, you don't get the option of knowing what they are. You can't control, I want this site but not that site. But my guess, just my best guess, is it's sites like Zappos, diapers.com, maybe Whole Foods.
Absolutely.
All the different sites Amazon owns, right?
Do you think that Amazon will run pay-per-click ads on social media sites? Like, do you think they'll...
I don't think they will take our ads on Amazon and run them on a social media site.
And I think that the cost per click is too high right now on social media for them to be able to justify it. But
yeah, I think Amazon will take people who land on your product detail page and will use social media to retarget them to bring them back in.
Through pixels and cookies.
But that is going to be more through the AMG programmatic side of advertising, which is a lot that's like we're at step 1 with sponsored ads, headline search ads is step 2, programmatic ads is like step 3, right?
What is programmatic ads?
Programmatic ads is like targeting. I want to retarget someone who's visited my product detail page. I want to target somebody. I sell a barbecue product. I want to target people who are interested in barbecue products.
And can you do that currently through Seller Central?
No, it's not. It's not self-service.
But it's similar to like the audience replication that people are using on Facebook ads, correct?
It's very similar to that. Yeah, I think Amazon will probably roll out what they call self-service retargeting. My guess is like within the next 6 months, Amazon will start to. I've seen it. They've been testing that for a while. And typically when they're testing something, that means that the rollout is gonna, but I've also seen Amazon testings for a year and then it never rolls out. So Dragon Boat, there was some on like Bid Plus, Bid Plus pricing and stuff like that. So some things never really come to fruition and some things, that's why they test.
Yeah. So the extended network, you were saying they've started rolling it out to some people?
Yeah, so they started testing that probably about 6 months ago. And it's my belief that they want to make that part. But let's just keep it simple for people, because if you start making it too complex, that's where people get lost, right? Yep. We could definitely do a whole thing on advanced tactics and techniques, but let's keep it simple for people. Yeah. People who have become disenchanted with the idea of advertising on Amazon, they most likely have become disenchanted because their ROI wasn't there, right? They didn't get a return on investment that they wanted. Their A cost was too high, which led to unprofitable sales. and they were probably looking at their data and just not really sure what to do.
So let me ask you this, and I definitely don't want to get too deep into that real technical stuff, but the point is, it's a fairly consistent platform. You know, the platform itself and the strategies probably haven't really changed over the past 3 or 4 years, but they are in the future, near future, going to be adding additional options. But my suspicion is that the same principles to manage the very basic system will be the same principles we've used even more for the advanced system.
So you and I have talked about this off camera, that there's a lot of methodologies. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. There's definitely some methodologies that are out there that I think are a little dated. So I'll give you an example. One of the methodologies that has been shared in the market is that you should try to add as many long tail keywords to your ad campaigns as possible. I don't believe in that.
Why not?
Amazon is a smart system. And so Amazon, the whole concept of auto-targeted ads, broad phrase terms, means that Amazon will eventually get to those terms and relate them back to your main term. So I talked to a seller the other day who had a really high sale price, to where, like, you know, at a 20% ACOS, he could be spending $20. Maybe it makes it worth it for him to go after really long tail keywords, because he has the ability to let things go,
a lot of wiggle room
to figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Yeah.
If you're a seller who's trying to, you know, drive your product, use the 80-20 rule, right? The 80-20 rule says figure out the 20% of your keywords that are going to drive 80% of your sales, and focus on those. Build a very well-performing campaign, and then Amazon will start to reward you.
Yep.
Because if you think about this from a logical perspective, if I launch a campaign and I launch it with 200 keywords, Amazon is going to try to serve up ads to all 200 keywords. Well, we know what's going to happen. We know that about 10 of those keywords are going to start doing some kind of good, and all the rest are going to be garbage, right? It's the nature of 80-20. It just works that way. 5% of the keywords will drive 54% of the sales. It's just it's the law of science, right? Like, we don't have to debate it.
But Amazon doesn't differentiate. What they see is just a lower conversion
Correct.
rate. So I was doing a consulting gig out in Colorado Springs a couple years ago for a pretty big company. They probably had 15 full-time staff members just on their Amazon platform, right? And they mostly do brick and mortar, but 15 staff members, and they were amazed with their ACOS and their sales. And all I did is I opened up another column on their whole PPC campaign, and it was that conversion rate, and it was like 0.0003.
Yeah.
And
they're training the algorithm to not like their stuff.
Exactly. So then what? So I was able to, and I opened it up, and their minds were blown. They said, "Well, we're still making good sales." I said, "But Amazon says your product sucks because nobody's buying it, because you're advertising for Apple when you sell a spaceship." You know what I mean? So as soon as we killed all those just stupid keywords and got down to that 20% you're talking about, they started immediately, like within a week, they were ranking like crazy organically.
So my recommendation today is that you don't actually clean up that campaign. You actually take all the high performing keywords from that campaign and you start a new one.
Yeah.
Because when you start a new one, you retrain the algorithm to different data. When you start to change it, then you've got to retrain the algorithm to like the new data.
So you literally,
Never is a strong word.
Theoretically, what you're saying is it is generally better once, let's take it down simple, okay?
Yeah.
Let me bring it back down. I'm launching a product, and throughout a product launch, I'll spend a solid 6 weeks making some pretty advanced changes to my PPC ads to dial them in. So what you're telling me is if I'm looking at it every week, that I'm better once I start dialing it in to just open up new ads and close the old ones, as opposed to continue to polish up the existing ads.
So every time you start a new campaign, you get what's called the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
And the benefit of the doubt is that Amazon doesn't know how you're going to perform, and therefore it gives you some information. It gives you the benefit of the doubt that you're going to perform at a certain level.
Yeah.
It's always easier if your campaigns are not performing well. So if your campaigns are performing well, optimize them down and do that. That's totally fine. For somebody who's trying to go into a campaign that's been around for a year and try to clean it up, you're much better off cleaning it up by creating a new campaign.
Just pulling the good stuff.
Yeah, because everyone goes, "Oh, but I don't want to lose my campaign history." I'm like, "Yeah, but your campaign history sucks."
Yeah.
So that's what you're worried about. And you don't lose it. Just don't, if you archive it, you lose it. If you just pause it, it still sits there and you can still look at it.
Yeah. I think that one thing I've never heard that's worth the price of admission, folks. That is really good.
How much are we charging?
Well, it's free, but okay. It's worth the time to set this up and do it, because that's awesome. And I can see how that can apply to so many things. And it also applies to listing launches.
Yep.
If you've got a product that you test, so say you buy 20 products, and we're getting off a little bit.
No, but you're right. You're
testing on a listing. If you continue to let that listing run, or not run, but you keep it open, you don't close a listing when it's out of inventory, then when you restock it, you're pretty far down. So you're better, unless you got some reviews or something, you're better to just replicate and open up a new listing, because Amazon will rank you up higher for a brand new product to see which way it goes.
Yep.
So I've heard two philosophies on that one. One is that you there is a way to go in and like pause the listing, right? As opposed to letting it just kind of sit. But I've seen that with my products. When I run out of inventory, you're absolutely right. You're better off, especially if you're doing a test and you don't have a lot of reviews and a lot of product history. Now, Amazon does give you a little more juice in the product history category, because if your product's been around for a while, they will give you a little bit of love. But yeah, the same concept applies. I mean, that's why you get the new bestseller badge when you launch a new product, because it doesn't take a lot of sales to get that badge.
So, all right, that's a big one. What other common mistakes do you see people setting up in pay-per-click? And let's separate pay-per-click into two different purposes. One is to run ads to your product. The other one is for testing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I maybe don't want to necessarily get into the testing, because that's like a whole new thing. So just the most common mistakes you see people making in just continuously running ads to drive traffic to their listings.
Yeah. So I'll give you three right here. One is campaign organization. How they set up the ASIN to the campaign, whether they're setting up multiple ASINs to one campaign, variations, whether they should all be included into one or they're all in their own. Campaign organization is where it all starts. If you don't build the foundation right, the house will never sit correctly.
So what you're saying is, whether you're running to like the parent ASIN, all the ads, or if you're setting up individual ads for each individual.
So this is where it gets tricky, because people want examples. Yeah. It's hard to just give like fictitious examples.
Well, let's say party supplies. Party supplies is hot right now. So if you have a variation that's unicorns, a variation that's Minnie Mouse. So you would target.
So then in those, what I might do is I might create one campaign that's like birthday party supplies, and put all of the ASINs into birthday party supplies. Then I might create another campaign that's like Minnie Mouse birthday party supplies, and put the Minnie Mouse ones only into that one. But I might do phrase for those, because what I don't want is I don't want my campaigns to start competing against each other. So if you sat down, what you should do is you should sketch this out on paper, right, before you start building it. But that's a more tricky one, because there are instances where you would want the campaign at the child level, not only at the parent level. So take the more generic terms that apply to all the variations, put them at the parent level, then take the terms that apply to the specifics, but don't go broad on those. Go phrase or maybe exact.
Okay. So here's what I like.
Or you could do negative keywords on those too, right?
You could negative, right? You could negative, if you have unicorn, you could negative Minnie Mouse, right? Yeah.
Because you can actually get some crossover, because Amazon will see that someone searched for Minnie Mouse but saw the variation of unicorn and bought it. So now Amazon could potentially start mixing that up. So you have to negative keyword that out, correct?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
So that's the second mistake, right? Over optimization. You've got to collect enough data before you start optimizing. So just because you get one sale or you get one click, don't be so quick to just negative a keyword. We had a client who they wanted to take any keyword that got one click and no sale over a 1 month time period and make it negative. But if you looked at that, a lot of those keywords actually represented their product. So they just didn't have enough data to scientifically say that this keyword actually means what my product means. So use your head, right? Like you know what your product is, you know what your product isn't. If you sell something that's leather and people are bidding on the word wood, negative the key wood. Doesn't matter how many clicks you have, it's not what they're looking for. If somebody's looking for leather and your faux and their real leather, don't just quickly negative the keyword real, because maybe somebody who's looking for real leather might
price point of faux.
Right. So use your logic in addition to what the data is telling you to let things play out, and don't try to optimize too fast. You have to let time to let your data tell you what the answer is.
And you're going to overspend in that initial launch phase. You're going to overspend just to know.
Yeah.
So I don't assume that, or don't underestimate the value of paying for that information. So even if you're overpaying, but just to know that it's something you don't want to try to target, that's good, valuable information, so you pay for that.
So that's one of the things that's I will call it a myth, a misrepresentation. It's like, do you run an auto campaign? Do you not run an auto campaign? 2 years ago, it was all about run an auto campaign and optimize from there. Now it's like, we don't need I highly recommend running auto campaigns. Here's the reason why. There are placement locations in Amazon that you can only get by running an auto-targeted campaign. Give you an example, product detail page. As you scroll down on the product detail page, you see ads being served up from sponsored ads.
Those are only auto?
Those are only auto-targeted campaigns.
Okay, so now we run into, oh, wait a second, maybe I have the answer. So we have a problem, because if we're launching something, we have manual campaigns, obviously, but the auto campaigns are going to want to target those same keywords.
Yep.
So will a manual and an auto compete?
They won't compete, but there are ways to have the auto work in your favor. I want to give you 2 more examples. Thank you page, add to cart page. 2 of the most clicked pages in advertising.
Really?
And those pages are both driven by auto-targeted keywords.
Only auto, you cannot manually get into there.
I think in the future you'll be able to, but right now that's the only way you can. Yeah. So the answer to your question is you're not necessarily competing in the auto because auto is going to kind of pick what it's, right? That's by its nature. It's going to pick where you want it to be. But what you may want to do is just have your bid be lower.
Just a little bit lower, because probably the cost to get onto the thank you page will be lower than it would through a manual campaign somewhere else, because
unfortunately we don't have that data, right? Amazon doesn't give it, but yeah.
Because if nobody else knows this, then it's leaving that click really inexpensive, because everybody else is manually targeting that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can't turn auto off because you give up too much location.
I've never heard that either.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. All right, what's your third of the 3 most common mistakes in PPC?
So I told you about
campaign organization. I told you about over-optimization. The third one is keywords. People pick bad keywords. There's just no other way to describe it. So your keywords on a manual campaign should be the top 5 keywords that describe your product.
Jeff, I have a crazy question for you. Do you have a recommendation of a tool to find those keywords?
No, never.
So let's be fair, right? So how do you find those keywords? There are tools like Scope that can help you find those keywords.
Well, let me back up and tell you the most common way that people are being taught. And you know that, listen, you know I'm critical sometimes, but there's a lot of bad information out there. One of the most common ways people are being taught is when you launch this listing, don't use a tool, run an auto, run an auto campaign for 3 weeks and see what the most relevant keywords are.
Yeah.
That's debunked, right? Don't do that. You need to do your own keyword research.
Nobody knows your product better than you.
Exactly.
So if you're selling a battery charger, do you need a software to tell you that it's a battery charger? Now, you might need to know that it's a battery charger for a Samsung and an iPhone and something like that. And so you can use your competitors' listings. You can use an ASIN, a reverse ASIN tool like Scope. You can use auto-targeted campaigns to find that out. But use your brain. Okay, so here's where people are messing up. We had a client who came to us. She was getting a lot of impressions, no clicks, didn't understand why things weren't working. She sold face paint. Her keywords were face and paint. That doesn't describe what her product does. So you have to describe, you can't just describe your product as an apple, like you said earlier. If you have an apple slicer, it doesn't need to be a stainless steel apple slicer. It can be an apple slicer or an apple cutter or an apple wedger.
But definitely don't put apple.
Don't put apple and don't put cutter. Right? Like it has to be a fairly descriptive term or phrase that describes your product. And, in all honesty, I'm not trying to undersell my tool. I think the tool is valuable. But you should be able to come up with the 5 on your own, and then use a tool like Scope or your AdWords to kind of refine it over time. Maybe 5, maybe 10. I don't think you need many more than 10.
So when you're jumping into a tool like Scope to look for keywords specifically for your initial pay-per-click ad setup, are you doing reverse ASINs on your competitors, or are you starting with more like search volume based on the intuitive keywords that you would normally use?
So
just a combination of both.
So I'm usually personally figuring out my main keyword by myself. But here's the key: I don't always go for the highest volume keyword.
Exactly.
I go for the highest volume keyword that I think I can win.
That you can win. Yeah.
Right.
So
it's a lot easier to win for 7 of, I call them tier 2 keywords, than compete with that one. Now,
eventually I'll get there, but launching a product, I'm going to go after an apple slicer. I might not go after the word apple slicer. I might go after the word apple cutter.
But you'll eventually rank, which is another thing that I find frequently happens running reverse ASIN stuff. If I'm checking my competitors' keywords that they're ranking on, what I will frequently find is a keyword that they don't even know they're ranking on, but they're not running a campaign on. So I'll run those reverse ASINs and I'll see, hey, so-and-so is really ranking high on this with a lot of organic sales, but the cost per click is 10 cents because they don't even know it.
Right.
And what you're talking about is when you start with these main keywords, but you have in your listing the heavy keyword that you want, is you sell, Amazon will start organically ranking you for that.
And then you
really
maybe change your title, right?
Yeah.
Like once you have enough sales velocity, change your title and start going after that bigger keyword.
But don't immediately start bidding on generally the most expensive keywords.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot for those tier 2 keywords. I'd much rather have 6 or 7 tier 2 keywords that I'm converting well and my cost per click is low than shooting for the holy grail of apple slice.
You're training the algorithm for your success, and then when you go after that bigger keyword, when you either go after that bigger competitor or that bigger keyword, you're going to be able to overtake them significantly easier.
Yes, awesome. Wow, I feel like that was a lot of information there. So, pay-per-click, it's very confusing. It's not complicated, but it's complex.
Yes.
All right, there's a lot of moving pieces, but all of it is fairly simple when you break it down to pieces. So, as a beginner, all right, someone that's just getting this thing, where should they focus their energy first in trying to learn and optimize and run pay-per-click?
So let's just talk about that in terms of like Amazon, your Amazon business in general. If running advertising is something that doesn't make sense to you, then consider paying somebody else to do it.
I was going to ask you that. What you thought about that?
like,
I hate bookkeeping. I hired a bookkeeper for my business. I don't like sourcing products. Your team has sourced my products, right? Like, I focus on the parts of my business. Now, I also run another business, so my Amazon business isn't my primary focus, and I get it when you're getting started, you have to be the jack of all trades. But as you are growing your business, focus on what you do best, and if this isn't what you do best and it hasn't worked for you, then consider having somebody else do it for you. Now listen, there's tons of people. Seller Labs has a service where we manage ads for people. You can go to Nathan at as I like to call them, free E-Up. It's an extra E. They've got skilled people on their network, and there's other people out there that do it, because it does require a skill to get it set up correctly and to do it. And so if you don't want to focus your time and energy on that, then don't. If you do, then do a little bit of research, dig into some of these concepts a little bit more, make sure you understand all the terminology. Start with a very simple ad, right? Don't try to be overly complex at the beginning. That's one of the mistakes I see a lot of people, is they try to be super complex when they're getting started. Be very simple when you get started. Understand that it's going to be a learning curve, and that you're going to need to work through that learning curve, and understand that it's not a set it and forget it type of process. And if it's not working, scratch it and start over.
And usually once you figure it out kind of once, you get over that one hump, the rest is pretty easy, because it doesn't matter what categories or anything that you're moving in and out of. It's all the same. Now, one thing that I always suggest, and when I first got married, broke as a joke, had no money, but I got in an argument with my wife about gutters. We had this little small house, we needed gutters. And I got a quote, and the gutters were $400 to have professionally installed. And she was so mad at me that I wanted this guy to install gutters, but I said, Jessica, I can go down to Home Depot or Lowe's. I could buy all these bits and pieces. It could take me 7 weekends, and we're still going to end up with leaky gutters.
Right.
Or I could just pay $400 and have it done right.
Ever try to do gutters?
Yeah, and I could make $400 easier, and then it's a better job. So I tell people that are getting into this all the time, it may be very beneficial to hire someone like Seller Labs team to help set up your first few so you can learn and see what they're doing, or hire a coach, hire a consultant to walk you through your first 3, because I really believe this, the money that you're going to invest doing that for your initial setups is going to save you mountains of mistake costs later and get you more profitable faster, so it's going to pay for itself.
So you've known me for a while. You know that I'm not a salesman. I didn't come on here to sell. I came on here to give knowledge. So I will tell you that, like, I don't believe that sponsored ads is hard. I don't. I really don't. But I also believe that I get it. And so it clicks with me, and therefore it's not hard for me to do. But again, bookkeeping, man, that might click for you. It does not click for me. I needed to pay somebody to do it for me because it's not something that I can do or want to do, like hanging gutters. And so if it clicks for you, put a little bit of time into it, try it. Because here's what I believe. Before you hire any consultant, I don't care what you're hiring a consultant for. You got to know how to do it yourself to know whether they're doing it right. So I didn't have you source my first product from China. I've been to China. I've sourced products from China. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I know the questions to ask your team to make sure that they're doing it the way I want it done. And I know how to manage the process because I've done it. And so now I've learned it. So
you can
now
manage expectations.
Right.
You can inspect what you expect.
Right.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So yes, you may have to just outsource it, but like if you're going to outsource it, at least know that you know it, so that you know that whoever you're hiring is not full of crap.
Yeah, absolutely. And understand that it takes knowledge to validate what's good, because a lot of people will set up a campaign as a consultant and then say, hey, look, your ACoS is low, or hey, but they're not opening up the columns like what's your true conversion rate, right? So don't look at a little piece of information and assume, hey, this works.
Well, let's dispel a myth. ACoS, okay? Advertising cost of sale, ACoS, all the terminologies around it. You cannot manage your campaigns to ACoS alone.
Absolutely.
So ACoS is a number and a metric to measure your campaigns too, but look at it in the greater picture of what you're doing. If those advertising sales are driving a lot of organic sales, then what's your total cost of advertising? When you look at advertising costs compared to total sales. So sometimes you have to have a loss leader in your business, and your ad sales might be a loss leader for driving the organic sales. But make sure that you're looking at that whole thing. I saw a girl the other day, she came to us, she was at 80% ACoS, okay? So her total advertising cost was 40%. I said to her, what's the profit margin on your product? She said 35%. I said, so you want to hand me $1, and then when you hand me $1, I'm going to make you give me an extra 5 cents. Because that's what you're doing right now. You're losing 5 cents on every $1 that you sell. And she wasn't understanding all of her numbers, and she was being told by a consultant that, like, oh, but this is going to all come out in the wash. Like, it takes some time to get these going. I'm like, I don't know, 4 months? Like, at this point,
yeah, a few weeks maybe.
And what I said to her was, I said, are you okay with this business decision? And she goes, well, this is what they're telling me. I go, I don't care what they're telling you. Are you okay with this business decision? This goes back to the idea that she didn't know how to manage the expectations that they were trying to set. And that's what you have to be able to do, is manage the expectations.
Absolutely. Wow. Give me another myth of Amazon advertising.
Another myth of Amazon advertising. I think another myth of Amazon advertising is that Amazon just wants to take your money and they don't care whether you generate a sale.
I don't believe that's true, because Amazon is deeply rooted in the customer experience.
Yeah.
So if all they're doing is spamming for no gain, I mean, obviously they're making a ton of money on paper. I mean, they should.
And you can overspend on ads.
Yes.
You can overspend on ads, but the nature of the algorithm that runs Amazon advertising is designed to connect a buyer to a product and generate a sale. And so you can overspend, but Amazon their goal is for you not to overspend. Think about this, right? This is the easiest way. Think about this. Amazon wants you to spend as much money on advertising as possible. If you're spending that money effectively, you'll keep spending more. If you're not spending that money effectively, you stop. So it's in Amazon's best interest to not let you overspend.
Yeah, they're in it for the long haul. I know that, I think that still Prime shipping, they have never made $1 on Prime shipping. I think they lose, but they know in the long term it's training the clients to expect this fast level of service. And now other online retailers are having to fall in line. So they understand the same as with us, that we might do a little bit, but overall, we might lose a little bit for the information or to rank, but overall, they know that if we just consistently lose money with no potential gain for the future, that we're going to quit using the service.
So think about that, right? We were talking earlier about changes in this world. Like, think about that. 10 years ago, just getting free shipping was cool, and your product could take 2 to 3 weeks because it was sent media mail. Now, if your product isn't shipped in 2 days and it's not free, you're angry. And now, like, Target, I bought it. Target now has to do it. Walmart now has to do it. They're all following suit because Amazon has literally changed the way we as consumers expect the internet to deliver to us.
Absolutely. Now,
that's cool.
That is really cool. It's completely changed our expectations of reasonable.
Yeah.
Which is, that's a big thing.
Can I tell a funny story?
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
So I was at Barnes & Noble. You guys remember Barnes & Noble? It was a bookstore. There's a few of them that still exist. I was at Barnes & Noble. I needed to get some magazines for my kids. They were at camp. I'm in the checkout line, and the lady in front of me is checking out, and she goes, well, I don't understand. This book online is, such and such, and it was like a $10 difference in the price of her order. And the guy goes, well, he'd finished her ringing her up, and he goes, well, if you would like, you can use your phone, and you can place the order online. It'll take about 15 minutes. The order will then come into our store, and then we can issue you a refund for your current purchase, and you can have the books for the cheaper price. And I'm standing in line, and I'm shaking my head. And I go, excuse me. And both of them stop and look. I go, are you telling me that she has to stop and go order these products on her phone, wait 10 minutes, then you'll give her the refund? You can't just give her a price adjustment because your own website is offering the book for cheaper? And he goes, I'm sorry, that's our policy. And I said, I totally respect the fact that you have a job and that you're following the policy that's set. Can we, now it's we, can we speak to a manager? So
now you're all up in her business.
So, and she's like nodding her head like, hey, he's right. So he's like, yeah. So he calls over a manager, he finishes ringing me out, and I go, listen to the lady, I go, this is ridiculous. Ask the manager, he's got to be able to take care of this for you, or she. The bottom of my receipt had a free cookie. I somehow qualified, so I was like, here, take your kid, go get him a cookie at the coffee stand, and, I hope this works out well for you. I leave the store, I'm walking in the area, I see her about 10 minutes later, her kid's eating a big cookie. And I go, what happened? She goes, the manager came by and the manager gave me the price adjustment. Thank you, I really appreciate that. 2 lessons, right? Okay. Lesson number 1, empower your people. If you're gonna have people that work for you, empower them to provide good customer service, right? All this guy had to do is say yes to something that's logical to all of us. It's the reason why, the second reason is, this is why there's a death of retail, right? Why we don't want to walk into stores because of that experience. Yeah. But the number of times that I've seen people be able to take care of a situation and not be able to actually take care of that situation baffles me. That a small empowerment of people to be able to make a difference. You travel to China a lot. Like, that's the problem with China, right? They follow the rule. The rule is the rule is the rule, and there is no breaking of the rule. The manager is the same way. That's why America's different. America's different because we put our emotions into it and go, yeah, that's logical that rule doesn't make sense, so we're going to bend that rule for you, or we're going to help you out in this situation. So just some business advice to kind of throw in there. I don't know where that came from, or if that is part of anything that we've talked about.
It doesn't matter. It's all good.
Yeah.
So I've got one last kind of pay-per-click thing that I want to hit on real quick and give us some information on. Tell us like the difference between Amazon's let's just say I'm only selling on Amazon, okay? Native Amazon pay-per-click versus external traffic advertising. Where should I be spending my time? Where should I be spending my money? And does it depend on the product?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I think that you need to understand Amazon advertising. It's an important part of the ecosystem. Amazon's got traffic. You need to drive that traffic to your product. In addition to that, as you build a brand, and I know you're passionate about this, you've got to build a brand story. Part of building that brand story is getting people to engage in you in some type of social way. So I don't know that it's about advertising off of Amazon, but it's about building social interaction off of Amazon and then using that social interaction to help drive sales on your Amazon website.
So it's not a one over the other. They're just two completely different things.
Yeah, it's like, I like to say they're levers, right? And the Amazon advertising lever is one you kind of keep pulling. The external one is the one that you kind of pull when it best suits you, right? So you built a great story talking about the lady in Central America whose co-op is building your product. People are part of that. They buy into that. They're buying your product because of that. And now all of a sudden you're launching a new product, and you go to all your passionate people and say, new product from the ladies at the co-op. Cha-ching, sends the traffic to Amazon. Sales help give you that boost that you need. You don't need to use launching services and all these other things right now. You basically build your own. But then you can also pull that lever again. Oh, it's Black Friday. Cha-ching, I want to pull both these levers, right? Jump up on Black Friday. New competitor comes into the space. They're kind of, beating you through some little tactic you can't figure out. But you've got this group over here of 5,000 passionate fans of your product. Cha-ching, pull the lever. So you have to be able to use it when it suits you and not abuse it. And within that community, make sure you're giving, right? It's a give, ask type of mentality.
Yeah, the jabs and right hook,
right,
like Gary Vee talks about.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't really say that one's better than the other. There's two completely different beasts. That's kind of always been my opinion, was that you can't compare them.
You need both. I mean,
you absolutely need both, and you just have to determine. If pay-per-click costs are getting really expensive, scale that back and use your external traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're at like the 48-minute mark. That went fast. I feel like a lot of good information. Any of you that are watching, if you have another question about pay-per-click in general, anything about sponsored ads, if you're watching this on YouTube, just ask the questions below. If you're watching this on Facebook, comment.
I want to be on this camera too. He's got like so many cameras here.
I know. If you're watching this on Facebook, comment below, and we'll make sure Jeff's plugged in so Jeff can actually answer the questions, because he's way smarter at this than I am. I could bullcrap my way to a good sounding answer. It might be wrong, so we'll get Jeff clued in. So Jeff, any last parting words before we get out of here?
My parting words will be that, don't get frustrated by it. It is frustrating. If you get frustrated by it, take a deep breath, maybe look at hiring somebody to coach you or consult with you on how to do it. And come connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with me on Facebook, follow me on those channels. I post a lot of information about this type of stuff, and hopefully, I can help you improve your business.
Okay. Well, Jeff, we appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the next podcast.
You've just wrapped up another episode of Legion Radio, hosted by Tim Jordan. Past episodes, links, and show notes can be found at privatelabellegion.com.